Whatever you're doing right now probably has something involving competition. Whether if it's a motorsport, a sport, a game, there's going to be competition. But esports and gaming? Well, that's an entirely different story. Games like Counter-Strike, Overwatch, Valorant, Call of Duty, those games are very competitive. And Fortnite is also one of them. However, there are some racing games that actually have esports on them. Games like Gran Turismo, Forza, Assetto Corsa Competizione, you name it. However, there is one game that I consider to be the most competitive and most anxiety-inducing game of all time. That game being Trackmania. Let's get started.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Ooh.
Trackmania has started from very humble beginnings. Released in 2003 for PC only, the game was developed by Nadeo Entertainment, who has been acquired by Ubisoft since then, and published by Focus Home Interactive, makers of the MudRunner series. And let me tell you, this game was very different from what we have today. So, it's how every Trackmania game has been. Main objective is to book the fastest time possible. And, well, this game's sense of speed feels slow, I'd say. Keep in mind, this is their first game, so obviously it's going to look a lot different from the next few entries. But aside from that, that really is it. There's nothing for me to explain in this game aside from just like the main objective and everything. But, yeah. Sorry if I didn't go too in depth about this game. It's just I couldn't find anything like special about this game whatsoever. I'm sorry. But then a little after a year later, on April 2nd, 2004, we would get Trackmania Power Up, developed by Nadeo and published by Digital Jesters and Focus Home Interactive again. So it was published by two people. This was basically a successor to Trackmania, but it was made a tad bit better. Sense of speed actually improved a lot. But then again, it was just about booking the fastest time possible. Oh, and I forgot to mention the selling point was to create your own track and share it to the community. And let's just say people came up with some pretty creative tracks. Really, they did. And it was very unique at the time, and to see what the community can come up with now is very, very cool. I like that. But then just 1 year later, in April of 2005, we would get Trackmania Sunrise. Releasing in April of 2005 for PC, it was developed by Nadeo and it was made by a whole bunch of publishers and yeah, this publisher in specifically has a lot of controversy. And so for those of you who don't know, this is Deep Silver. This was a publisher that is known for making shovelware and some AAA games such as Dead Island 2, Saints Row 4, and some of the Metro games. And they've had quite the controversy over the past couple of years, but hey, doesn't every game developer and publisher have that nowadays? But anyways, Trackmania Sunrise was probably a big leap forward in terms of how the game played. Sense of speed wise, it felt so much faster playing the game. And a lot of new maps too. It felt really nice playing an entirely new campaign filled with new maps and tracks and everything. But aside from that, that's it. This is basically a sequel to Trackmania Power Up, but better in every single way. Now this is where the series truly began to kick into high gear, because in 2006, we would receive Trackmania Nation's Electronic Sports World Cup, or ESWC for short. And this was to promote both the tournament and the game itself. It would also introduce the stadium environment, one of the most well-known environments in the Trackmania series. And this would be used for a lot of other entries, such as Nations Forever and United Forever, alongside a couple other titles we'll be talking about. But aside from that, this is basically an entirely new game, promoting a tournament and the series itself, with a new campaign, a new default car, and a lot of other stuff. And so, this is basically Nations Forever, but releasing in 2006, instead of 2 years later. Speaking of which... only 2 years later, we'd get Trackmania Nations and United Forever. Released in 2008, it was only available on PC, but it was free for everyone. Well, except for United, as United Forever was the paid version of Nations Forever, but you can play with the same people who own Nations Forever. Are we also gonna ignore the fact that the title for United Forever looks like it's off of a children's book? No? Alright, I thought it was just me. And it's big. Very big. It's a big improvement from Nations ESWC just because of how much tracks and campaigns there are. And I say campaigns because in United, you get to choose from various types of environments and campaigns. From island to stadium, there's a whole lot. And the car list is a lot more broader. But in United, it's a more expanded version of Nations with many more campaigns, many more cars to choose from, and the same online multiplayer as Nations. But instead of it being free, you'd have to cough up 15 doubloons. Now I know this is how every Trackmania game works, but just heed my warning. If you slip up even once, as in just scratch even the smallest piece of railing, the ghost will just catch up to you immediately, just like,
"Here I come. Here I come."
And let's not forget about Trackmania for the DS? Oh god. And I'm sorry, who published this game? Yep, the people who made Persona has made a racing game for the DS. Releasing in 2008, the same year Trackmania Nations and United Forever released, the game was only available on DS, and it's an odd release. I'll just show you a video of it. Okay, to be honest with you, I was expecting a lot worse, but this is actually pretty good for a game like this. But I was surprised they even got the game to run, considering how fast it is. But anyways, let's move on to the next few games, shall we? I'll keep this one short and simple. Trackmania Build to Race was released on 2010 for the Wii, and it was probably the only game for the Wii in the Trackmania series that we got. And this was basically just a port of Trackmania Nations and United, but built for the Wii. And, surprisingly enough, it had online multiplayer. But, unfortunately, Wii Online services shut down back in, like, I want to say 2013? I think? 2013, 2012? I'm not sure. But, yeah, that's basically all this game is. We now shift to Trackmania Turbo. No, not that Turbo. This Turbo. Oh, forgot to add one thing also. Hang on. Yep. Trackmania saw another Nintendo DS release, and this time it was a tad bit better. Now, when I mean tad bit, I mean it's basically the same thing as the first Trackmania that came out on the DS. Just a little bit better in terms of how it played. And I'll just show you another video of it. Again, this game is basically the same thing as the first DS release, but however, they actually introduced some more environments. So, it basically became a port of United Forever, but just a bit toned down. And by a bit, I mean a lot. But at the same year, a new era of Trackmania has started, in which I like to call it the Mania Planet era. Now, alongside the platform's release, Ubisoft would also release Trackmania 2 Canyon, one of 4 environments that would soon be released on the platform. But now, let's start with Canyon. Releasing on September 14th, 2011, Trackmania 2 Canyon was one of the many games that I enjoyed in the series. It was all because of the campaign, the potential of mods, and the amount of tracks that were created by the community. And if I were you, I'd pick this game up right now. It is $10 on Steam, and it is very fun for what it is. And another reason why I like this game is because of the amount of mods this game has. You can mod cars, there's even tracks. It's amazing, honestly, and I very recommend you check this game out. Again, it's $10 on Steam, and I love it for what it is. Now, let's move on to the next game. In February 27th of 2013, Ubisoft would officially release Trackmania 2 Stadium, the second environment to be added onto the Mania Planet platform. And let me say this is one of the best looking games in this series in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong, although Nations is still more popular than Trackmania 2 Stadium, this game still holds up graphics wise. And oh my god, it's so fun. And what I really like about this game is the amount of mods that you can use. From cars, to tracks, and campaigns, there's a whole lot of mods for this game. And just for Mania Planet in general. You'll see what I mean when we go over the next couple of environments. But now, we shift our focus to... Shoot Mania? This is an odd release. Now today I wanted to try something a little bit different. And that was to make their first FPS shooter for the Trackmania series, and the only first-person shooter in the Trackmania series, as this would only be released on Mania Planet, dubbed Shoot Mania Storm. Releasing in 2013, the same year the Trackmania 2 Stadium released, this would be Nadeo's first take on what it's like to make a first-person shooter, and it's good. I never owned it, but from what I've heard, this is a really fun game. Well, at the time, because as of recording this, the servers are probably dead, and they're not as populated as you think. So, yeah, Shoot Mania was a really odd release in my opinion. But now I just want to show you a quick little snippet of what the gameplay was like. So yeah, basically, there's going to be all the basic modes in every FPS shooter. Capture the Flag, TDM, and free-for-all. I think. I don't know if free-for-all was in this game, but this was an odd release. And I said this for the third time, but again, I think it is in my opinion. But now, we move on to Trackmania 2 Valley. Releasing on July 4th, 2013, Trackmania 2 Valley would be the third environment out of 4 to be added onto the Mania Planet platform. And this isn't my gameplay as it belongs to Throneful, formerly known as Chrome Video Games. I'll link his channel down below in the description for you to check out later on, but for now, Trackmania 2 Valley features a pretty good campaign from what I'm seeing. Multiplayer wise, very fun, and again, this is Mania Planet, so it won't be as populated as all the other games such as Nations and United Forever. But there's not much to talk about for this game, as it's basically another environment but with different cars and physics. But the campaign is pretty good from what I'm seeing. But 3 years later, Trackmania would create a game that would be the successor to all 4 of these environments, and it would be the first ever console release for PS4 and Xbox One, thus creating Trackmania Turbo. And yes, we are talking about the actual Turbo, not the Turbo for the DS, but the Trackmania Turbo. So let's get right on into it. On March 22nd, 2016, Trackmania Turbo would release. This would also be the first game in the series to be released on PS4 and Xbox. And it certainly did not disappoint in terms of the campaign and the environments. My most favorite environment has got to be Canyon and Stadium. I say it's just because of how good the physics were in these two. Compared to Valley and Lagoon, which, by the way, was a future environment that would soon be released as a standalone environment on Mania Planet, they're good, but they're not as good as Canyon and Stadium. And in my opinion, I've been playing Stadium for so long, so I've already gotten used to it. And the campaigns were amazing. Although I didn't finish the full game yet, I still think it's very, very fun to play, and people still speedrun this game. And yeah, in terms of how it plays, it's good. I like it. But there's not much to talk about here, so we're just going to move on to the next game, which is Trackmania 2 Lagoon, the final environment in the Mania Planet platform. So let's get right on into it. Just 1 year later, on May 23rd, 2017, Ubisoft Nadea would officially release Trackmania 2 Lagoon. And let me say this. Some of the tracks in this campaign had so much twists and turns that it felt like you were playing the Mario Kart 8 version of Rainbow Road. It just felt like an entire fever dream. I'll just show you. And the steering makes it worse because it's really sensitive compared to all the other Trackmania 2 games, but hey, you get used to it after a while. But aside from that, Trackmania 2 Lagoon is probably the worst rated game in the Mania Planet series, standing in at around 557 reviews that have an overall mixed feeling. And most of the other games are either positive, overwhelmingly positive, or mostly positive. Aside from that, that's basically all I gotta say about Lagoon. Now, I don't have any affiliate links, but I will link all 4 environments in the description down below, including Shootmania, for you to check out. They are all available on Steam right now, but some will even go on sale, but that probably won't happen very often, so you'll have to stick around for that. But now, let's get into the reboot of Trackmania, which is just called Trackmania. Yeah, let's get started, shall we? Now we fast forward to July of 2020, where Trackmania was just released. But a lot of people just call it Trackmania 2020, and it's because this is a remake of Trackmania Nations. And, well, it did not work the way you expected it to, because ever heard of this thing called greed? The thing that all game developer and publishers have? Well, I got something for you. Because when this game released, they locked all of the main features behind a subscription. Yeah, I'm gonna lose my sanity over this. And I feel like a lot of people said the same, because you're gonna have to pay $20 a year to unlock all of the main features that every Trackmania had, such as track creation, multiplayer, and campaigns. But if you had standard access, you'd get access to the current campaign. For those of you who didn't know, this game has some seasonal campaigns, where there's a summer, spring, fall, and winter campaign. And you can't play the past campaigns because that is locked behind the paywall as well. And remember, this is Ubisoft. They suck, and we can't trust them after what they've done. But yeah, that really is it. Before we end the video off, I just want to say I do apologize for such a long delay, as I know it's been 2 weeks since the last video, and I just want to say I am so sorry for the long delay. And also, sorry if this video is a little rushed, as I wish I could put more love into it, but ever since school started back up, I just couldn't have enough time on my hands, and so I was really busy. But again, thanks for sticking around, I really do appreciate it, and stay tuned for my next video. And if I did miss anything, do be sure to point that out by leaving a comment down below, and also just let me know your thoughts. What did you think of the video? Also, be sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications, as you'll never miss a video. And it says here that 1.4% of you guys are already subscribed, and the 99% are not. So, if you haven't already, please do so, as it will motivate me to make more content like this. And again, please point out anything I missed out, as I know this video is a little rushed, and so I do apologize for that. But, aside from that, that's it. Follow my Instagram, follow my Twitch, follow my TikTok, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.